Well, remember when I said this and we laughed about it? Our trucks are completely protected. We don't really have to worry about breaking anything other than maybe some drivetrain components. I should not have said that. Why did I say that? Yeah, we are way deep on some trails going to this camp spot, and I actually broke my truck now. Dude. Good morning, everyone. It is day 4 now of this high altitude camping trip, and last night we stayed way up there in the mountains at 12,600 feet. We woke up this morning and the wind was whipping, it was cold, so I decided instead of kind of hanging out up there and filming the morning stuff, we would just come down, get aired up, because we're about to hit the road today. Now the goal today is to take it a little bit easier than the previous days, so hopefully we're gonna get to a spot kind of early, maybe not super high like 13,000 plus. And since it's going to be a little bit more laid back and relaxing, I actually polled you guys over on Instagram. I said, ask me or Sam or Jake truck questions, and we're gonna answer them right now in this video. The first question of the video, it's not even a question, but I was told to high five you guys.
Nice.
Nice. That was from Spencer. It was so windy and cold up top that I didn't even have time to brush my teeth. Jake has to leave. Bye, Jake. All right, one more question before we hit the road here. Where this passion did it start? Where did this passion start? I think it started from a really young age for me, just being outdoors in general. The whole like off-roading, overlanding thing didn't come until later, but camping, being outside happened from when I was very young. My grandfather owned mountain land in the Appalachian Mountains in Pennsylvania, and I grew up in those mountains all the time. My family is full of hunters, so we were always hunting on that land, and yeah, I was just always outside. Now the overlanding and off-roading and vehicle thing comes into play much later than that. Obviously, I needed to be able to drive first, and we'll answer a question kind of similar to that here in a little bit. Cool spot.
Not bad, not bad.
This is the type of shit that I love seeing in Colorado. Pointy mountains, some green tundra. There's actually 2 mountain lakes around here as well. So this was just a random spot that I wanted to check out because I think I'm gonna come camp here. Actually, we both might come camp here in a couple weeks before Expo. I wanted to see if it was possible in the van, and the trail is pretty deteriorated, so I don't think that will be happening. However, truck made it just fine, and this is sick. This also qualifies as high altitude camping.
Barely.
Barely. We're like, I don't know, 12.1 maybe? We are currently at, mine's not updating, or it's wrong. Let me check Onyx. Oh yeah, that's right, because looking at the topography, definitely like 12.1, 12.2. We're just taking a quick break up here before we possibly meet up with someone else, since Jake decided to leave us. We got a good question here specific to kind of what we did in the last video. Are 35s necessary to do the trails that you guys do? So I was kind of thinking this over because I already read all the questions. I would say that 35s are definitely not necessary.
Yeah.
33s can get you to most places. I would say anything less than that and you're really going to be shaking your vehicle apart. But if you took a TRD off-road Tacoma like mine or Sam's, you have 4-wheel drive, 4-low, you have a locker, you could do most things. I would say like 85 to 90% of the things that you see in my videos with a truck like that. However, 35s were absolutely necessary yesterday.
Yeah.
Honestly, 37s or 40s would have been better.
Yeah, especially for those trails. Number one priority for any of the trails that we do they're probably protection, like sliders.
Yeah.
That's like probably number one that I would recommend, just to save yourself from body damage. I mean, the amount of times even in the last couple of days that we've tagged our sliders and skids have been...
It's been insane. Even coming up here, we were tagging our skids and sliders and like everything. So 35s are not necessary. However, if you're doing what we do with 33s, you're going to really put your vehicle to work. I mean, you're probably going to break things more often. The 35 allows you to roll over things easier. It's going to be less bumpy, especially aired down. If you are running 33s, like a beadlock wheel would probably be useful too. Mine are not beadlock. Sam is. But yeah, you don't need to have the latest and greatest best stuff out there, but I think in the future when I build another truck, if it's a new Tacoma, I'm definitely doing 35s again because it just makes it more comfortable. We'll do one more here because this one kind of ties into the last question. What's the ratio of your camping spots that a stock vehicle can get to versus a heavily modified vehicle? So like Sam said, you should really have high clearance bumpers and skids and sliders for a lot of the places that we go. But if we're talking about the Tacoma specifically, again, kind of like the 35s, I would say a stock Tacoma, as long as it's an off-road probably. There's the wind. A stock Tacoma can probably get to like 85, maybe 90% of the spots that we go to. However, you have to know how to drive. I mean, a lot of the stuff, especially that you guys saw in the last video, was all about picking the right line. And us three went to that trail not knowing the good lines, especially for vehicles that aren't made for really truly wheeling like that. These are camp rigs, so if we would have had like the beta on the proper lines, we probably could have made it even further on there. But
yeah, I mean, I think just be smart. Like if you're going out by yourself or with other people, I think just look out for each other. I would say a majority of these trails, yeah, you could probably go on, but it'll just take you a lot more time. And
a lot more time.
Yeah, just be careful when going over a lot of stuff, and like we said with protection, just don't go over stuff that you aren't comfortable going over.
Yeah, if you guys are coming to Overland Expo, I know someone asked a question about that. My truck, this truck, will be at the Diamondback booth, and my van will be at the Backwoods Adventure Mods booth. Come and check out my truck because I didn't really have any like crazy marks on any of my C4 protection. But after yesterday and even sometimes today, like for the rest of this trip, we're tagging stuff on everything. So you want to have your vehicle protected. Stock vehicle can do it, but expect some damage in the spots that we go to and expect it to take a long time. We've made it down into town. We just fueled up and a new player has entered the game. I saw
Player
it.
3. Player 4.
We're player 4.
Player 4.
Hey, I got that case too. We're doing a Q&A here. I got one for you. If I go hike and camp, it's backpacking. If I go off-roading and camp, is it overlanding? You're the good person to ask for this because you got the weekender lander going on.
It's car packing. Car packing.
It's car packing?
Car packing. Yeah, that's what I call it. No big deal. Weekender landing, actually.
Weekender landing. Tire packing. I kind of agree with that. Just like going off-road to camp for a night and then going back home, I don't really consider that overlanding. I don't really care what you define overlanding as, but for me, this whole trip is overlanding. It's picking out different waypoints and then enjoying the journey to those waypoints if you can even make it there. We've taken a bunch of detours so far in the past like 4 days that we've been out, so I think just like being on the road with the desire to see new places, go off-roading, see trails, and then set up camp and have food and spend time with friends, that to me is what I consider overlanding, but you can call it whatever you want. So we are now rolling out of town. We don't have very far to get back on a trail. We almost didn't even have to air back up because we're gonna be on dirt soon.
Banana filled vanilla wafer Oreo.
But once we get onto dirt tonight, there's a good chance that we're gonna be off-road for the next 48 hours. So let's head over to the trailhead and jump into this connected web of off-roading. Well, remember when I said this and we laughed about it? Our trucks are completely protected. We don't really have to worry about breaking anything other than maybe some drivetrain components. I should not have said that. Why did I say that? Yeah, we are way deep on some trails going to this camp spot, and I actually broke my truck now. Good times.
Good times.
So we've had a ton of like super rocky, bumpy obstacles like this stuff that we're trying to go up here, and my CV is completely broken now. Maybe that's the noise that I was hearing. I was hearing some noises kind of on the way up. It sounded like rubbing, but yeah, I don't know. Now I have to figure out how to turn the truck around and drive two-wheel drive, probably home. Dude.
Hey, there they are.
Well, I made it up here when it exploded. Trash leaves trash, so I'm going to get a bag and pick this stuff up. Damn it, dude. Trash leaves trash.
Pick up your trash, guys. Town's about to lick off all of the grease from the rocks. We don't want to leave anything behind. Pretty dope spot for a photo though, right? Snap.
Pretty good, yeah. So now we're kind of in recovery mode, but also still in camp mode. We still have quite a ways to go, and it looks pretty rocky like this, so I'm not making it in two-wheel drive. Hopefully the truck still moves fine in two-wheel. I think I'll be able to make it down in two-wheel, but Sam's gonna pop up ahead to see if there's a camp spot just up there, and if so, we might be pulling my truck up here. So a truck with 35,000 miles driven like it is all the time, that's bound to happen at some point. I think I had some wheel spin and it kind of hopped up that, and then as soon as I came down, that axle just snapped. So here we are. So this sucker's rated a 6, a Colorado 6, which is a little different than some other states.
It's definitely not a two-wheel drive trail.
No.
It's kind of cool though. I don't know which section's better. Sam went right.
Sam went right. That's just so jagged there.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
A little shelfy.
A little shelf road. Shelfie selfie. Here, want to keep going? I don't think it's worth going on since we're not gonna get Talon up this, I don't think, without a bunch of slow winching.
Thank you for the ride.
Hey, anytime, man.
Next time. So game plan now is to let Mike go first back down the trail. I already put the truck in two-wheel drive, so I'm gonna try to back down this kind of gnarly section. There's a little turnoff over here where I should be able to turn around, and then drive out of here in two-wheel drive, or drive to a camp spot. Unfortunately, we're not making it above 12,000 feet today. I got the truck turned around now, and Mike ran up like a little offshoot here to see if there's any camping spots nearby before we try to limp our way out of here, or I should say me limp my way out of here. Some more questions. What do you look for on Onyx when trip planning to see if there's a good campsite there? I oftentimes look for, well, first of all, National Forest land, which is green, BLM land, which is kind of like a yellowish color. Once I find land that I know is probably okay to camp on, then I'll just kind of jump into satellite or 3D mode and look for cool little dirt turnarounds on overlooks. A lot of times you can see fire rings and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I do it. And I believe I made a video about that. It's either on my channel or on Onyx's channel. Another one, have you ever wanted to do a lengthy BDR trail from Mexico to Canada? I haven't really looked at doing that one in particular, but there are quite a few different BDRs around, and I would definitely like to do that, just multi-day kind of off-road the entire time. And maybe next summer we could do that. I'm kind of running out of time this summer, and I gotta fix the truck at this point. MPG on the trail, ever run out of gas? How much extra do you carry? Right now, my miles per gallon is probably not great because I've just been sitting here idling. Currently at 7.5 miles per gallon, and it varies quite a lot. I've never run out of gas, and occasionally I will just have one Rotopack filled in the back, but I've only used it once, and it was really just to use the fuel, so it didn't go bad. Oh, looks like Mike is behind me. Time to limp. So we started backtracking just a little bit from where the incident happened and decided that we might as well just camp here rather than struggling with this for the rest of the day. Kind of happened at a good spot that the truck broke here. We've got kind of a flat spot right off of the side of the trail, and I think we will be okay camping here for the night. Got a nice little waterfall here. Some white noise with a creek running down. It could be worse. It could be much worse. So while we're not at high elevation or high altitude like the standard that I set for this trip, we're still high for like basically everyone's perspective. We're at 11,470 feet, and they're parked up here probably at 11,480 feet. In my eyes, this is a failure because we're not above 12,000, but it is what it is. I'll get the truck fixed and maybe I'll finish out this trip another time. Now it's still pretty early. It's only 5:20 right now, so let's jump into a couple more questions for you guys. Here's a good one. If potato chip bags expand in higher altitudes, why don't tires do the same, or do they? I don't know the answer to that. I'm assuming they do. Tires expand when they heat up, obviously, and air will be expanding that's contained at a higher altitude, so I think they do. Bags of potato chips expand as you go higher. Do tires do that too? They do, right? Yeah, everything does.
Anything with pressure. Yeah, everything.
You're
It's bigger at elevation.
It's bigger at elevation.
I'm at 2.5 now. It's that much bigger.
I'm gonna have to cut all this out. Do you miss the van when you travel with the truck? Sometimes, like for the past 3 nights now, I definitely missed the van because it was windy and cold and a little bit brutal, but the van wouldn't get to a lot of those places. It wouldn't get to really any of the places that we've been, so the truck gets me to more off-grid places that are insanely beautiful, like the place that we're at right now. Thoughts on the new Tacoma versus the Ranger Raptor? I like both trucks. I was actually in between the Tacoma and the newer Ranger at the time when I bought my truck. However, I opted for the Tacoma mainly for the reliability, even though I broke my CV axle, and that's something that is pretty common to break when you're off-roading for basically any vehicle. So the reliability, but also the aftermarket support. Tacomas in particular have a crazy aftermarket. As you can tell, the way that I built out my truck, I absolutely love this thing. And the new Ranger Raptor looks super sick. As a truck that I would just drive around town, sure, I think that would be great. But for what I want to do with a vehicle like this, I would still opt for the Tacoma personally. First item you bought for your camping setup. Honestly, I'm kind of sitting right next to it here. The Diamondback HT cover. This was pretty much one of the first things that I've added to the truck. And I talk about this cover all the time. The HD is great. It supports a ton of weight. Of course, I don't have much weight on here, but front runner rack with the tent, that's kind of like my bare bones setup, and then anything else that goes inside of here is kind of extra. So I think my Diamondback cover would be the answer to that. If you could have started earlier with overlanding, what vehicle would you pick? When I was looking at buying a Tacoma, I was actually more interested in the second gens, but for what I do, the third gen made more sense because it was the newest Tacoma at the time. I really like the look of the second gen, and I almost went that route. Technically, it's like a 2.5 gen, I guess. And we actually had a discussion last night talking about doing what we do in an SUV, like a 4Runner or a Land Rover, something like that. And no matter what, I'm probably gonna choose a pickup truck 9 times out of 10 because I do have a van as well. So a van and an SUV be kind of redundant-ish in my opinion. So I think I would have bought a Tacoma if I started even earlier. How come you opted for crew cab instead of double cab? Because in the winter time, I of course run a Kimbo camper setup. There's a ton of videos on the channel if you've never seen that before. I think that's enough questions for now. We're gonna hang out and eventually cook some food. Luckily, it's warm and there's no wind in this little pocket that we're in, so if it stays like this, we can have a little fire, have some drinks, and I'm gonna try to enjoy the night. It is, I don't know, I took my watch off. It's like 9 o'clock, I'm pretty sure, and
9:06.
9:06, that was pretty good. It's white people taco night. Not limited to only white people, but white people love it the most.
I'm not white.
Have you heard that song?
Yeah. White people taco night.
Cooking on Mike's truck because we're all dispersed right now. Unfortunately, when the truck broke, this was like the closest flat-ish spot for us to camp at. So intact, functional trucks, broken trucks down there. So I've seen these at like REI. I've seen them all over the place. I'm curious how it works. Mike's got this whole thing rigged up into his rear bumper. Is that a 15-pounder?
11-pounder.
11-pounder. Propane straight to the jet boil. Kind of clamshells up. They come with like pots and pans.
We're in business now, guys.
Now we are cooking. It's not hot. Should only put meat in when the pan's hot, but hey.
Oh wait, yours is dead now.
Oh my gosh, dude. You open that back up? Boom, bam, bop. Bada bop, boom. Pow. I eat last in case you guys get food poisoning.
Oh, that's messed up.
How's your sweet pork
yet.
and rice?
I'm gonna try it just in case I die, so you guys don't. Whoa. Pretty good.
Not bad.
I definitely taste that brown sugar.
One bite. Everyone knows the rules. Yo. That's not bad.
Pretty good.
I would not expect like a dump hot water in thing to be like that. If you weren't spooning that out of a bag, I would have thought that you might have made it.
Ground beef looks good.
Spicy ground beef too. Spicy flavoring. All right, white people taco night.
I mean, yeah, white people tacos.
I'd eat like 5 of them. Ooh, that's kind of spicy. Spicy mix.
Yeah, got a little kick. Night.
See you in the morning.
Good night.
Hopefully, I can make it out of here. You pull.
Mostly downhill.
You pull from the front, and then you can just push with your bull bar from the back. That'll be sick. Can't wait. Not gonna lie, I am a little bummed about the truck, but it's a part that breaks and I can fix it pretty easily. I really wanted to continue this trip. We still had 2 more nights after this, technically 3, but the first spot didn't work if you guys watched the first video. So this was supposed to be a full 7-part or more series, 7 days, 7 trails, 7 camp spots. And unfortunately, I won't be able to fix the truck in a day to get it back on the road because of where we're at right now. So best case scenario, I bring you guys along on the adventure of getting out of where we're at right now, which is in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, in 2-wheel drive tomorrow, which honestly shouldn't be that bad. A lot of it is downhill, but there was a little bit of technical rock garden stuff that we got to get through. And then I'll get home, get the truck fixed. So that's it. That's all that I got for right now. I've had a lot of Type 2 fun on this trip so far for the past couple of days, and I hope you guys appreciate it, enjoy it. If you do, leaving a like, leaving a comment is always appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe because I'm making videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.